Thursday morning. It is 9 o'clock, and it is time for another edition of Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. My name is Darren Swenson. Our Town, as always, brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust. Later on in the program, we'll have our monthly conversation with Decorah School Superintendent Mark Lane. But we're going to talk about a couple of things coming up in the area next week. Bethany Scott will join us to preview this year's edition of the Allamakee County Fair. But our first guest this morning is Katie O'Regan. She is going to preview next week's Caledonia Spring Grove Film Festival. And Katie is fun of a person as I get to talk to, very passionate about her craft. And we might even recognize a few names that she's talking about that will be coming to Caledonia and Spring Grove next week. Katie O'Regan starts the show next. This is Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. One of the very fun things about this job is getting to know people that are very, very passionate about their communities, their crafts, and what they love to do in life. And in my years of doing the show, probably in the top 5, at very least the top 10 people that are passionate about what they do that I've gotten a chance to talk to is Katie O'Regan, and she's here to discuss the Caledonia Spring Grove Film Festival that will be taking place next week in Caledonia and Spring Grove. Katie, always great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you too, Darren. Thank you so much for having me today.
Tell us about the festival coming up next weekend, July 23rd through the 25th. All sorts of fun events going on, but what's the overall goal of hosting a festival in these communities?
Well, it's really fun to be in Caledonia, where I currently am. I'm sitting at the Wired Rooster, by the way, a cool coffee shop. I was born in Caledonia, Minnesota. And as we've talked about before, I lived in Chicago and New York for a really long time, and I came home, and so I'm bringing all my artist friends back to the Midwest, where I'm from. I have a house in Waukon and a new business for Sacred Noise here in Caledonia. This is our second year that we'll be doing the film festival. We do part of at the cinema. 42 films we're going to show over 3 days, which is really exciting. So we have a ton of filmmakers coming. Our guest of honor is Daniel Baldwin, who's wonderful. He is premiering a really cool film, My Promise to PJ, that will make you cry and make you laugh, and it's amazing. And then his brother, Alec Baldwin, the wonderful Alec Baldwin, is coming and dropping in at the Spring Grove Cinema and interviewing his brother. So it's going to be a big hoot. You know, the Baldwin boys are pretty funny. So we're going to do a little boy banter and talk about his beautiful film, which is about recovery and his cool journey, and he's an amazing director. And then we had Ed Asner, Mr. Ed Asner himself is coming back again to grace us with his magic presence. And we're doing a play in Caledonia at an auditorium on Main Street, which hasn't had a play, I think, for like 30 years or something.
Wow.
And we're putting air conditioning in just for the events, and people are coming from all over the country. And Elsie's, which is my favorite place in Caledonia to hang out and have dinner, and they have an amazing. Elsie is catering the dinner. And we're going to have that at 5:30, and then we're going to perform Good Morning Miss America by Phyllis Yes at 6:30 with Ed Asner, starring, and his daughter, Liza, and myself, who plays his other daughter, and Diana Angelina, who's an amazing actress from California that I'm playing in, and Daniel Baldwin's making a special appearance as well. So it's a pretty cool event. So tickets are $85. That includes dinner. It's going to be really cool. You know, that's Saturday night of the festival. So we have like 42 films. We have the play that we're doing, and to top it up, we have a parade. You know, you can't just have a film festival. You have to have a play and a parade, right? That was our guest last year. So we're going to do the parade this year in Caledonia. It's an open parade, so anyone can sign up. It's free. There's no entry. So everyone lines up at the Fairground Festival at like 1:30, and then we're just going to start the parade at 2:30 on Saturday.
And when you talk about the people that are coming to town for this, I think from the outside looking in, we look at Alec Baldwin, at Daniel Baldwin, and Ed Asner, and we have our own perception of people that are stars and celebrities like this. And to me, the fact that they're willing to come to Caledonia, Minnesota, and Spring Grove, Minnesota, that kind of says they love their craft more than anything that the celebrity status brings them in life. Is that fair to say?
It's really well put, Darren, and it's so true. I mean, Alec Baldwin, and he's a A-list celebrity. Daniel, they've been doing their craft and being famous really their whole life, and they're just the most down to earth, cool people. Their perception of what anybody as a famous star is incorrect unless you have spoken to them and know them. And Daniel has the biggest heart ever. He helps so many people with his message.
And when you talk about the parade you got going on in Caledonia, from what I understand, it's been a long time since Caledonia's had a parade like this in the summertime, correct?
I think years and years and years and years, and the city of Caledonia was cool enough to approve it. And I'm really grateful for that. I had a dream about it, and I just show up to do it, and they're letting us do it, and it's pretty exciting. So people don't quite understand that it's really going to happen, but it's really happening, and it'll be really super fun. We have the coolest filmmakers as well coming from all over the country. Emmett Loverty, who was here last year, who's coming again this year from California and flying in. Megan Fitzgerald, who's coming again this year. I mean, just amazing people that are coming back. And it's humbling. And we have I think we have now 30 filmmakers that we're featuring that are going to be here.
That's really, really cool. And when you look at the people that put these films together, from the outside looking in, again, probably not household names, but how talented are these people to just keep going and put out the great products that they do? Yeah. And if you sit down and watch their films, you're wondering, why aren't they making big time feature films, I'd imagine? Just talk about their passion. What keeps them going? What's all involved in their process?
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Timothy Hines, who's an amazing filmmaker. He's got a really cool film that we're premiering. He's flying in from Beverly Hills. He's got a love of the craft. It is, we don't choose our craft. It chooses us. I think it's that simple. And you get to be a part of it, and then you fall in love with it, and then we're given the vision as artists to do what we do. And I think that's the answer to your question. Everyone has their own really personal reasons for doing what they do. I had amazing teachers growing up that, in music and art. I always say David Anderson was my high school, junior high music teacher, and he's the reason I'm still an actress and still love to support other fellow artists, because I believe that if you help other people's art, then it makes it a better world. And I don't want to be living in a world that doesn't have art and film. Mm-hmm. I just don't.
Yeah, very well said. And the neat thing about a festival like this, again, I'm keep talking about perception, and I think there's a lot of perceptions out there. There's a perception out there that you got to go to a large metro area to get talent like this around, to get films like this around, and a festival like this kind of makes us realize there's talent and there's entertainment and there's great art right here in our own backyard.
Absolutely. And it's really interesting because, I always say I always will be an Iowa farm girl. I grew up on a farm. I graduated from Turkey Valley High School. I grew up with 6 brothers, and there's nobody that ever told me when I was a kid or a young adult that you could ever do this and be, come from an Iowa farm. We did it for the craft, to be good at it, for the arts. And it's a huge part of our culture, as you know, here in southern Minnesota and in Iowa and Wisconsin. It's just, we have some amazing people. I mean, some of the coolest people ever coming from Minneapolis. I think we had 10 really amazing films from Minneapolis filmmakers that are just, they're so professional and so good. And they get recognized internationally for their work in other festivals. So it's humbling to see, I wish I could have every day be a film festival just for the independent filmmakers, because they are so talented. And a lot of their work never sees the light of day. It doesn't. And so it's really important for me to bring people that work in Hollywood to come discover some of our amazing actors and some of our amazing filmmakers, so they can get their word across, their message, their heart. It's important.
And when those folks maybe come to this area for the first time, they realize, you know what? Hey, this is a pretty darn cool place. Yeah. I know we like to be provincial and we like to brag about where our home is, but You know what? It is a
They
cool
love it.
place, and we like showing it off to many people, including folks like this.
We love it. I want to thank our sponsor, Snowpack Foods in Caledonia. Pete's wonderful. He's helping sponsor it. Caledonia Haulers, they're awesome. And they're just, cool guys that are just, they really love their community. And the Spring Grove Cinema is great. They're giving us a discount. I'm renting the theater with Sacred Noise Society is the name of my nonprofit. So tickets are at sacrednoisesociety.org. It's a 501c3. This is not a money-making venture, so we need people to help sponsor us, and it's really great that they're doing that. And Dr. Phyllis Yes, who wrote Good Morning Miss America, this is the third time I'm going to produce her play. One I did an off-Broadway almost 2 years ago. She's just amazing, and we're making a movie on it, and we're raising money to have Ed in it, and June Squibb, and Liza, and Daniel Baldwin is going to help, and we're going to do it. And I don't know how yet, but I never know how. I just know we will. It's not my job to know how. It's God's job.
Well, very good way to put it. And you mentioned the play that you're going to be involved in, and
yeah.
I got to bring this guy up. He tells me I can't call him my boss. I got to call him my coach of the company.
Yeah.
Our very own Greg Wennis is involved in this. Tell us about his role.
Actually, he's going to be, we were just talking this morning. It's sort of like any huge festival is this kind of like fluid. And so Greg is the kind of guy, he's an amazing singer, an amazing talented actor, as you know, who owns the radio stations. He's just a wonderful human being. And he is going to be our guest of honor who's announcing the parade. So he will talk about the parade, and he's so good at it. He needs to know the script. He's a genius. And he doesn't know this yet, but he's going to sing the national anthem. Shh, don't tell him.
Your secret's safe with me. It doesn't leave this room. He's
going to sing the national anthem, and he's going to, that's what his role is going to be. He was in our play last year that we did with Ed Asner, The Dream Cafe, a musical I wrote. And this year, he's not going to be an actor in the play, but he's going to be the guy. He's the glue. He's always the glue. He's an amazing person, isn't he?
You bet.
So, he really does. We're going to do a great giveaway with Caney, the radio station, your radio station, right before at the opening of the festival. They're going to be parked, and people can register to win with the truck and car, right? It's going to be
great giveaway,
so cool. Yep. Great giveaway. Tell us about the great giveaway.
We're giving away all sorts of things, a lease on a pickup, a few other things going on. We've been at places all summer long. We'll give that away at the end of summer, and all the locations available on our website, any of the Wennis Communications websites. And good to have the Caledonia Spring Grove Film Festival involved as a registration location, and hopefully someone at the end of summer can win a big prize related to that. But getting back to the film festival itself, again, tell us how to get tickets to us, and also tell us a little bit more about the parade. If folks want to be involved with that on Saturday, how do they sign up for that?
Well, that's the cool thing about it. We're doing a very open parade, so there's no sign up fee. Anybody's welcome. There's no sign up. They literally just line up. We're going to line up at the fairground, and the Caledonia police are going to be there to take care of us, and Pete at Snowpack is going to be kind of the guy in charge of it, and make sure no one gets run over, and everybody just bring all your candy and bring your floats. And we want to welcome Ed to Caledonia and Spring Grove, and we want to welcome all our awesome filmmakers, and we're going to have a filmmaker float and welcome Daniel Baldwin, and his daughters are coming, Avis and Finley. And so, I guess what I wanted to do, as opposed to charge a fee or something for the floats, I just want everyone who wants to be a part of a cool hometown parade just show on up and surprise us.
Yeah, well put. As for tickets to the festival itself, how do folks get those?
You can go on site at Sacred Noise Society, and we're only charging $50 for all the movies at the cinema. So for 3 days, you can see all the movies. And they start with the premiere of Daniel's really cool My Promise to PJ at 2:00 on Friday. And then we're going to watch that. And that includes the price of that amazing thing. We're going to watch that. And then his brother's going to come in live Zoom. Alex is not coming here. Daniel's coming here all weekend, but Alex is going to be live Zoom and then interview his brother live on stage in front of the audience. It's going to be a hoot because those things are so funny, right? So that'll be a really special thing. We have a, we have a bunch of television cameras are coming. We have our Getty image photographer coming, just because, and Dr. Robbie Ludwig, my friend from New York, is amazing, and she's going to come. She's on CNN and Fox, and there's so many filmmakers. I can't even mention everybody's name. But what I'm going to do is, what the Lacey Awards are, is the filmmakers who win awards. We're going to give them a lot of press, and there's going to be a lot of awards this year. And we have it online also. If all the filmmakers want to watch their films for 2 weeks online, they could do that. And that's a $50 ticket. So if you're not here, if you live anyplace else and you just want to watch all the films, you're going to get a link to watch them online. You buy that ticket online for $50. There's one link. So you can, that's it. So even if you pay $50 and you go to the theater for just one day, you still get a link to watch all the films online for 2 weeks. And let me tell you, it's a really good investment for $50 to watch these amazing films. And from all over the world. 240 films are available on the site.
And basically that's, you look at, if you go to 240 films in the movie theater, you're paying a lot more than $50. And that's just a great deal in itself, and great affordable entertaining stuff going on. I'll just ask you to wrap it up. Are we missing anything? Anything else you want to pass on to the masses?
I think it's really important to for our fundraiser on Saturday, where we're doing the food from Elsie's in Caledonia, which is yum. We're gonna have meatballs, by the way, meatballs and gravy and dessert, yes. And Ed Asner soda, yes. And there'll be beer and wine there, and you need to get tickets right away because they're $85 for the show and the meal, and we need to tell Elsie how many people are going to come to dinner. So y'all come on out, call, get on the site. If you have trouble getting tickets on the site, because some people hate doing that, you just call and I'll answer the phone, or someone else will, but it'll probably be me. So you can call it 917-456-6967. It's on the website, sacrednoisesociety.org. That's what it is. sacrednoisesociety.org. And we're 501c3, and we're raising money to do Good Morning Miss America as a film in October. Yay, baby.
All right.
In Portland and Caledonia, and maybe, who knows, maybe part in Waukon too. Oh, I forgot, we're doing a prayer service in Waukon, and Daniel and his daughters and I and some of the filmmakers are going to come down at the Waukon Catholic Church, and Daniel's going to get up and talk, and we just, it's part of the festival. I'm a God girl. I like to bring art and God together. It's fun.
All right. You know what? If folks aren't excited about this film festival after this interview, I don't know what's wrong with you, quite frankly. Katie, always a pleasure. Always fun to talk to you, and we wish you best of luck with the second annual Caledonia Spring Grove Film Festival. Next weekend, it's going to be a great event. Big time folks coming to town, but none bigger than Katie herself, of course.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you, Darren. You're awesome. Bye-bye.
Katie O'Regan from the Spring Grove and Caledonia Film Festival, July 23rd and 24th. Well, next week, the Allamakee County Fair is back and better than ever. The 167th edition of the Allamakee County Fair. Bethany Scott is with us from the Fair Board. And Bethany, no, there was a semblance of an event last year, but things getting back to normal, and it's good to see. I know you guys do a lot of work getting ready for the fair, but it's kind of fun to have that organized chaos back this year, I'd imagine, is it?
Absolutely. The planning is worth every minute that we do. We got a good lineup going this year. We're happy to see people back and out and about, and excited to see the 4-H and FFA kids back in action in full swing. So we're excited to be a part of that this year. And
you look at the grandstand entertainment. You got some stuff in front of the grandstand beginning on next Wednesday night. Run down your grandstand entertainment.
Absolutely. So coming Wednesday, July 21st, we've got our local truck and tractor pull going on in the grandstand starting at 7 o'clock. And that event is actually free for all of the military veterans past and present, those who are serving in the military. That's a free event for them this year. And then Thursday, July 22nd, we've got the 7-4 promotions motocross in the grandstand. And Friday night, we've got the Slippery When Wet concert. That's the Bon Jovi tribute band. And Bon Jovi actually has agreed to let them stand in for him. So Bon Jovi knows about them. They're pretty great. And their opener is Flatland Ridge, would be opening for them at 7 o'clock in the grandstand. Come Saturday night, we've got the Rogue Rodeo starting at 6 o'clock and got mutton busting for the little kiddos as well to enjoy on Saturday. And then come Sunday, we've got our Tough Truck starting at 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
And grandstand passes, you can get all the grandstand events for one low price. And I understand if you purchase them by Tuesday the 20th, you get a little bit of a discount too, correct?
Right. Yep. So we got our fair booklets being sold at local businesses, and you can purchase them online at the fair website. So booklets for all 5 nights of entertainment is only $35. Otherwise, each individual night is $15.
And the Midway with spectacular amusements going to be starting Wednesday of next week. Always fun to bring the kids out, and there's some discounted ride tickets available, and wristband days available as well. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so the wristbands are available for purchase already as well through the fair website and some of the local banks in town as well. And then the prices do go up the day of the fair. So it's definitely an advantage to get your tickets ahead of time for the family, and definitely good for all of the fair as well. There's individual nights, or you can buy wristband vouchers for the Midway for the whole fair. So definitely gets a price break for the family, makes it more affordable for that family fun.
And you mentioned affordability, a heck of a lot of free events just by coming out to the fairgrounds.
Yes, this year we're implementing quite a few new activities. We've got back by popular demand is our Family Feud. So we've already got a few local businesses and their employees signed up to compete against each other for that fun event. And new this year, we're bringing in a lip sync battle. So kids can pick any appropriate song they want or make a little dance to it and enjoy the lip sync battle. And there's also a lot of open class events like painting classes for kids and both adults. And we've got a critter calling and a facial hair, like a beard growing contest. So hopefully that gets on some of our men in the county to compete against each other in a fun way.
And of course, I got to give our guy, Little Dale, some credit. He'll be on the stage in the pavilion at 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. And really, if folks need any information, the website's the best place to go to, correct?
Yes, everything's all up to date. We update that on a daily basis as new contracts come in or new vendors are locked in. So that's always updated as soon as possible so people can be in the know and stay up to date on that.
And it's always good to go down and support those 4-H and FFA kids as well because that's a big reason for the fair existing.
Right, absolutely. The kids put in work year round, just like the fair board does on the entertainment side of it. The kids are putting in projects and putting in time year round to whether it's a swine exhibit or a beef or a dairy project. Definitely all their hard work gets paid off come fair time.
Anything we're missing? Anything else you want to pass on to the public as long as we got you?
I think that just the fact that we're excited to see everybody post-COVID, and we're excited to finally invite everyone. And also we've got our last thing is we've got a craft and vendor show, which is new this year for the pavilion. So another place to kind of shop local and see your local vendors too. That'll
always
be on
good.
Starting at 9.
Yep, always good to support local businesses. They're the people that keep our communities going, and one of those great community events year in and year out is the Allamakee County Fair starting next week in Walk-On. Bethany, thanks for the time. Here's to a great 167th Allamakee County Fair.
Absolutely, can't wait to see everybody there.
Bethany Scott from the Allamakee County Fair Board, the fair starting next week in Walk-On. Time now for our monthly conversation with Decorah School Superintendent Mark Lane as It's about a month and a half away, I guess a little over a month away from the start of the 2021-2022 school year. And Mark, I'm just going to ask you this. I noticed on social media, and you mentioned it last month, that you and your wife got to get away for your 25th wedding anniversary last year. And after the last 18 months of a person in your position pretty much being on call constantly, with the way the world was, how good did it feel to get away and maybe not worry about a few things for a few days?
It was wonderful. Yeah, we this is the summer of our 25th wedding anniversary, and so one of our favorite places in the world is St. John, an island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We've gone there 2 times before with family, but this trip was just the 2 of us. So we had a house just out in the rainforest of St. John, and went to a different beach every day for a week, and did some snorkeling, and really just had a great time away. And it was a good opportunity to recharge the battery.
No doubt about it. I think everybody can use it at this time of year. As for the business of the district itself, one of the things you discussed the other night was where you're going to be holding your meetings. It was a topic that was brought up last month. Where is the board at in eventually determining a potential permanent site, or is it one of those things that you're going to keep playing by ear and keep examining?
Yeah, I think we'll keep examining. I think for now we will continue to meet in the middle school media center. Excuse me. We did look at our board meeting space here that we've used for a long time, and have talked a little bit about the possibility of putting an exterior door there. So just to have the opportunity to have a couple, an interior and exterior exit. But just, anytime we continue to operate under recommendation in K-12 schools around physical distancing, and so the space that we have, if we do have an audience here at the board meeting room, it is a pretty tight space. And so the middle school media center has worked better for us. We went for a period where we were meeting remotely, fully via Zoom. But then when we brought the board back together, just being able to spread out a little bit more and have plenty of space for people that wanted to attend in person, the middle school media center has worked well for us. I think eventually it would be great to get back to meeting in our district office and having a dedicated boardroom, so we're not imposing on things that go on in the buildings, but we'll continue in the media center for the time being.
And is that one of those things that perhaps the pandemic maybe caused you to look at and say, our meeting room that we've used for a while, we could probably use an upgrade there?
Definitely. And, I think not just our boardroom, but during the typical day, during the school year, we don't have something that I would say is a great training room for adults, right? Our spaces are used by kids. And so, for us to bring together a group of teachers during the school day for a meeting, it can be a challenge for us to find an adequate space for a good meeting of just adults. We have a few smaller conference rooms around the district that, if you have maybe 5 to 10 people, we have some adequate spaces for. But with ongoing training and with larger meetings, we're always challenged just to find the best or the most useful space to do that. And as you know, from being in our boardroom, you've got maybe the square feet on the floor there, but those pillars in the middle of the room and the way the room is just situated, it's not a great conducive meeting or a conducive space for interaction with a large group of people.
One of the other things you talked about on Monday night is some transfer of funds, and I know these are usually boring things to the general public, but one of those things was the ability that districts have right now to take general fund dollars and transfer into an activity fund. I know the state legislature passed a law allowing you to do that, and you took that action on Monday night. Is that going to be a one-year thing, or is this something that districts could do into the future?
The way the legislation is written, it's something that districts would have the ability to do for the next three fiscal years. This past fiscal year, so FY21, the fiscal year that we just entered, fiscal year 22, and then in fiscal 23. My hope would be that with a little bit more of a return to normal, that we would only need to take this action just this one time. Our activities directors, Adam Riley and Jake Nimrod, they managed their departments over the course of fiscal 21 with existing funds. And as we went to close the books on the fiscal year, we sat down with our chief of business services, Kathy Dietzenbach, and just looked at where fund balances were. And we needed to make some adjustments, and we appreciated that the legislature took this action to allow for us to make a couple transfers. We transferred about $9,000 into a high school fund and about a little bit over $7,000 into a middle school fund. And this was really driven by, just our need to limit attendance at events this year. We just didn't have the revenue streams that we would typically have. And so, our events are generally very well attended. And so as people can start attending events more this coming school year, my hope would be that, this would be a one-time event, but the legislature did put in place that if necessary, the next couple of years, it would be something we could do.
And there's probably some out there that would say that general fund dollars should just be for education and it shouldn't be transferred over to the activity fund. How would you respond to a concern like that?
I guess I would say, well, we were in the middle of a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, and so this, there's a reason why the legislature needed to take legislative action to allow it. Because it's not something that a district would typically do. And, I would say, I think our business manager, Kathy, and our board and myself, we try to work very conservatively with our budget, and we worked very carefully to say, we're not gonna move more money than we can afford to move. In a general fund budget that approaches $12 million a year, $16,000 is a pretty small allocation to activities funds.
Another thing you discussed on Monday night was some of the efforts that the district is taking in regards to equity. Update us on what's going on related to that subject.
Yeah, for years, Iowa school districts have been expected to look at a number of different data points through an equity lens, to disaggregate that data and say, how are we doing when we compare different populations of students? So when we look at our achievement data or our discipline data, we need to do that. We need to compare that data when you look at female students and male students, or when you look at students who have an IEP or don't have an IEP, your majority white students compared to students of a minority group. And so unfortunately, across our state, all school districts see achievement gaps and may see disparities in discipline data as they look at that disaggregated data, and that's true of us as well. And so over the last 10 to 15 years, the percentage of students that are non-white in the Decorah Community School District has grown. We're still an overwhelming majority white district, but 15 years ago, it would have been about 97% students were white, and that's gone to where it's more right around about 87 to 90%. And so as our student population becomes more diverse, we have to equip our teachers and our staff to have cultural competence, to understand how they can best serve the needs of all students and families. The year before I came to the district was in a position where our number of students that receive EL services, English language learner services, it had grown to a point where we added a second ELL teacher. And so, you know, I think these are just the kinds of actions that our school district takes when needs arise. One of the things that we did last summer was we used an outside consulting firm to come in and do some student focus groups and to ask questions around what were the experiences that students were having in their daily experience at school. You know, we have a mission and a vision, and we have values that speak to the well-being of all students. And so we need to hear from our students, and we need to understand, are all students having positive experiences where they feel welcome and safe at school? And so an organization came in and did focus groups with non-white students and with white students. And we heard from our students around experiences they had where race was an issue. And so we want to address those needs and those concerns of students. And then also this past year, we had a community needs assessment where we brought in about 40 different representative stakeholders, parents, people from higher education, people that own businesses in our community. And again, student well-being, the ability to be a global citizen and to have cultural competence. These were things in our community needs assessment that our constituents and our stakeholders told us we need to be addressing and be focused on. And so just gave an update to the board just around professional learning that we have done and that we're planning to do this school year. And then being able to also give some feedback or give some understanding to the board around a legislation that was passed in the House this past year, House File 802, which creates some parameters around equity and diversity trainings in Iowa schools. And so we are just making sure that our efforts are aligned to that legislation.
And when you discuss equity and diversity matters like you just touched on, do you ever look at issues outside of racial factors, such as perhaps other socio-economic issues that could affect a student's day-to-day well-being?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. When we think about equity and diversity, we think about students and families that may identify in an LGBTQIA community. We absolutely look at the impact of poverty and socioeconomic status. You know, unfortunately, socioeconomic status of a family can be one of the greatest predictors of success in school. You know, I want to be able to say to the community, I want to be able to say that, you know, education is the great equalizer. But if we're going to say that we need to be able to prove that that's true. And so when we see achievement gaps between students that live in poverty and students that don't live in poverty, we need to look at the system and say what's not working for students that are experiencing poverty, what's not working for a family that maybe is experiencing homelessness, that they're not able to access school or to access the benefits of school in the same way that their peers are. And so, yeah, when we think about, you know, when we think about our mission and our vision to provide service and educational excellence to every single student, we really mean that to each and every student. And so understanding how we can better serve students in poverty, how we can better serve students that are in a minority group, how we can better serve students that have an IEP, students and families that may be experiencing mental health issues. You know, those things, we have to find ways to make sure those aren't roadblocks to people receiving the benefits of school and really feeling welcome at school.
And when you have these discussions and these conversations, and they are uncomfortable, I think, for all people involved, but they're necessary conversations, sometimes there's a perception out there. I don't think this is the intent of anybody, but there's a perception out there that fingers do get pointed, that it's somebody else's fault for where I am in as compared to a whole slew of issues that you just talked about. How do you make sure this is a positive conversation and you take these conversations to better everybody involved in these conversations rather than lay blame?
I guess I really come at it from a position of, I think every human being deserves to be treated with dignity. And if we can really have a focus around, we all have value as human beings. We all have the right to a feeling of dignity and value. That's really the place that we're coming from. And again, I go back to those things that you know, that we really believe as a school district that you know, that we can be a pathway for each and every student to really live their dream and achieve their dreams and goals. And if we're going to be able to do that, we have to be able to engage in those uncomfortable conversations. We have to be able to assess what are our strengths and what are our opportunities for improvement. One of the things that I shared with the board on Tuesday night was the fact that over the last 20 years, the number of non-white students in the state of Iowa has almost tripled. So in 1999, the 1999-2000 school year, about just over 40,000 K-12 students in Iowa were non-white. About 9.5% of the students across the whole state of Iowa. This past school year, it was almost 26%, almost 125,000 students in Iowa compared to just 20 years ago. What hasn't changed very much is the percentage of minority teachers. In 1999-2000, it was 1.7%. And this past school year, it was just a little bit over 2.5%. And so, you know, if our teaching force is going to be a majority white teaching force that is teaching what continues to be a growing minority population student body, I think we have to learn, and we have to put ourselves in a position to understand the perspective of people who don't have the same life experience that we had. I grew up in Jefferson, Iowa, a town of 5,000 people. And my first teaching job was in Rialto, California. And I had 34 students in my classroom, and only one of those students was white. So one student and me, we were the only two white people in the classroom. I didn't have an experience like that growing up. Right? I grew up in Jefferson, Iowa, and everybody looked like me. Everybody had the same life experience as me. And so to step into that classroom where people didn't look like me as the teacher, that was a great learning experience for me. And I'm Facebook friends with a lot of those students from that first classroom, because I just, you know, I learned a lot about people and about treating people with dignity and being treated with dignity and respect from that experience of living in a community that was very different from where I had grown up.
And I know we mentioned it that a little over a month from now, you'll be heading back to school, opening the doors for another school year. And it's 2020, 2021. I didn't get ahead of myself like I did earlier on that reference end of things. do we have plans for registration and everything like that in place? I know you did a lot of it online last year. Is that going to remain this year?
We are going to do online registration. It worked well last year, and we're going to do that again this year. Yes, parents will receive an email on Monday, August 2nd, that will describe the registration process, and it will provide them a link to start the registration process. Just like we did last year, we'll have opportunities if people need assistance, whether that's just because they aren't confident in their technology skills, or maybe they don't have a computer at home. We'll ask them to communicate with their building administrative assistants and to set up a time when they could receive that assistance. So that information, we had a turnover with our director of technology. Kurt DeVore left us at the end of June to go take on his first superintendent job at Lone Tree down by Iowa City. And Sean Gordon is our new director of technology and information systems. And so through the transition, Kurt and Sean worked together to ensure that we were still in the good spot of being able to do registration when we always have that first week of August. And I know Sean has been talking with building administrative assistants, and we're ready to go, and we'll send that email out that Monday, first Monday in August.
Anything else you want to pass on to the public, as long as you got the floor? Or the seat in this case.
Yeah, no, the registration was the big thing. I appreciate you asking about that. And just a thank you to folks that have been supportive of our softball and baseball teams this summer. Each time I've been able to get to a softball or baseball game, we've had great crowds. And I know our student athletes and our coaches really appreciate great parent and community support. Was at the baseball game last night, and we had another great crowd. And so thank you to folks that have been out supporting those teams this summer.
And hopefully a couple of more weeks of baseball to go with the Vikings this year. They've had a great year, and as did the softball team as well. Mark, appreciate the information and the knowledge as usual, and we'll talk to you next month with the back to school message, so get it prepared.
Excellent. Sounds good. Thanks, Darren.
Mark Lane, superintendent of the Decorah Community School District. Three interesting guests, as usual, on the Our Town program this morning, and we thank them for taking the time. Katie O'Regan, the Caledonia Spring Grove Film Festival will take place next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Allamakee County Fair starts next week. We want to thank Bethany Scott for joining us, and always good to get information from Decorah School Superintendent Mark Lane. Don't forget, each and every week we upload these shows to YouTube. Basically, this week, go to YouTube, go to 715 Our Town program, and you can watch this show. And basically, if you ever miss the show on the radio, you can watch it and have a look at the guests that we have conversations with each and every week. And we appreciate your willingness to log on and check this show out via video as well. Thanks to our guest, our thanks to our sponsor, Decorah Bank and Trust, and our thanks to you for tuning in, for logging on, or for watching Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.